Just by looking at the thumbnail of this video, you will probably realize that this is a weird setup for the start of this video, and I'll just tell you, the only reason is because I'm lazy. I set this game up last night, and I didn't want to take it down, so here we are. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Garmin. This is the Storycraft Society. I need space. See, when you move stuff in the middle of the talkings, you have to use the take. I need space. All right, here we are. This video is already starting off just fantastically. I don't know where in the schedule this video is going to end up, but recently I have been working on the birdhouse builds. I've made a couple of houses, and then right before that, I made the big super mega awesome house thing. So with those being done, I was very curious to see what my time would be worth just in the grand scheme of things. So what I did was I hopped on to Amazon and I looked up how much I could buy a 3D printed house for. And the answer to that question is you can buy a 4-pack for $40. $40 for a 4-pack. Now I know that everybody's economic situation is different, but to me that just absolutely blew my mind. 4 houses. That means that each one is worth $10? $10 for a house. So I was like, all right, I'm buying it. I'm gonna buy this pack and I'm gonna see what it looks like. And then, of course, Amazon forced me to look at other things that they wanted me to buy. And then I saw that the same exact company, this is all Ender Toys, by the way, they also had a singular tabletop house 3D printed for $40. And I thought to myself, it would be interesting to compare what a $40 4-pack of 3D printed houses would look like compared to a $40 singular 3D printed house. So that's what we're doing. I got a 4-pack of them, and I also got, it's in pieces, but a singular $40 3D printed house. We're gonna take a look at them, we're gonna paint them up, and we're gonna see if they're worth it. I mean, there is a 0% chance that this will ever convince me to stop crafting houses because the painting part is my least favorite part. I hate that part, but they're neat. And they look cool. Okay, this intro, I'm so sorry. Let's just get into the video. Gosh. Okay, so we're gonna start with the 4-pack cottage bundle. That's what it is called. They are basic, I will say that. You know, the 3D textures are 3D, but they're not majorly 3D. It's not like they stick up, you know, very crazily far. The door texture is fine, but again, there's no like wood grain texture in the door. So I think that will be very difficult to paint unless you're going to like do freehand stuff on top of it. Another thing that I'm noticing is that the 3D printing lines are pretty obvious in the smooth surfaces, like where the stucco would go. The textures, like for example, on the roof shingles here, like all of them line up, so it has this very, I'm not sure, uncanny valley is the best way that I can describe it, but it looks like shingles, but not like shingles. But that's this one. What's interesting is that that actually changes in between the models. So like this little cottage, a lot of the other things that I said were the same, although the 3D texture is actually deeper on this one. And more importantly, the shingles actually have a little bit of variation to them. So if you notice, this has literally no variation and all the lines lined up, but these are all done correctly, which is just interesting to me. The chimney's fine. It doesn't like blow me away or anything, but it looks good. And again, for being a $10 house, this one's a little bigger. This one is obviously a little smaller. And then you get over to these two, where they're actually a little bit bigger and they feel a little bit more usable to me because they're more along the lines of the size of houses that I make. I'll give you an example. Size-wise, here is the birdhouse house compared to this. It's a little bit smaller, but not a lot smaller. And for $10, maybe. We'll see what it looks like when it gets painted up. And then both of these have the offset shingles, which is nice, but then the shingles themselves are a lot more square. Now let's take a look at the $40 house. So the $40 house comes with a playable interior, and it does come with a door. I'll get that here in a minute. And then the roof itself comes in 2 pieces, and that is what this looks like. The texture and detail on this house is way better. I mean, way better. From the amount of detail in the stucco, to the detail in the wood, to the stone. There's even a lot less artifacts of the 3D printing on here, which is interesting. Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, like, that's pretty darn good. Very little, like, 3D printing obvious marks on it, at least to my eye. Even if I just, like, take this part of the roof off and compare the shingles here to the shingles here, it's obvious, unquestionable, and clear that this is the cheaper quality house and this is the nicer one. The only thing we can do now is move on to spray priming these to get them ready to be painted up. One more real quick side note while I'm thinking about it. I am literally going to glue these 2 pieces together with super glue, and then once I have those 2 pieces glued, I'm probably going to end up super gluing this roof down on top of this to make this house unplayable. I really struggle with having playable interiors for houses. I just feel like I'll never use it, and I always end up happier with non-playable buildings and then just using dungeon tiles to make my buildings later if I need people to go inside. We'll see, but at least for right now, I am definitely going to super glue these together before I start spray priming. So a quick painting update while I am here. I don't know how many of these I'm going to do, but it's worth mentioning. I am 1 coat/color deep. I've just kind of started on this yellow oxide. The thing that I want to remind you when doing any kind of painting thing like this is 2 parts. 1, thin coats, and then secondly, make sure that you aren't trying to be super tight in the lines. I'm gonna use browns on the wood to end up painting over that, so then that's gonna clean all those lines up. It's a huge waste of time to try to be super neat and tidy at this stage. It saves you a little sanity and saves you a step. One quick side note at this point in the video that I think is really worth mentioning is that obviously I could have done a more detailed paint job. Obviously I could have added more little details and side things that would have made the build quality go from just kind of average to really, really, really nice. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to show off the differences between a $10 3D printed building that you can get off of Amazon versus a $40 building that you could get off of Amazon. And to me, going above and beyond and taking them up to the super top quality that the average crafter is not going to be interested in doing, I don't think that that showcases the point for most of us in this video. So obviously I could have upped the quality if I wanted to, but this is like a good mid-level quality across each one of the pieces. And I tried to treat every single building exactly the same with the same colors and the same painting techniques and all that sort of thing. So with that said, let's get back to it. The only way that I see to do the rest of this video, I think, is just for me to be brutally honest. And, you know, it's one of those things where you can do a lot of movie tricks and movie magic to try and make things look better than they actually are. And I think that that probably would end up making the channel look good, but I don't think that's going to serve this video well. So just be ready. We're going Garmin's hot takes for the rest of this video. So this is the $40 house. It looks pretty good. I don't think that there's anything that I did to it that the average person wouldn't be able to do. And there is a lot of texture to grab. So looking at the roof and looking at the stucco, there was a lot of cool texture to bring out on it. And unless you get super, 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 super close, the 3D printing texture is not super obvious. And the truth of the matter is that you're going to be viewing it from even further away than this if you're playing a game of Dungeons and Dragons. So, those little minor imperfections that come from 3D printing, I'm not sure, how much that is going to affect it. The other thing that I made sure to do with this video is I tried to paint all of these buildings in the exact same color scheme. So I used the exact same colors and I used the exact same techniques to the best of my ability. Like obviously that one is all stone, so it doesn't have any stucco. And that one is all stucco, so it doesn't have any stone. You get the idea. This house looks pretty good, the $40 one. I would use this. Now on to this stuff. So these are the $10 houses. And the number one issue that they have is that there is literally no texture at all inside those areas. So everything that from this distance looks like texture is something that I had to create with a brush. That just to me was just a miserable process, and I already don't enjoy the painting process a whole lot. So then when you start adding that level of complication in, it's really, really rough. And again, all of these wood textures where I tried to make something that looks like wood texture, that is just all brush strokes. These shingles don't look so bad because they're the one, if you remember, with the irregular shingles. But if I pull out this guy, I mean, they do not look great. My final verdict is at least for me, I think that the $10 pack of houses is fine if you're not too particular. I think that they all would look fine and they would be a good starter pack to get a village going, particularly if you have no other buildings to compare it to. If you already have pre-existing buildings that you've made, I would stick to something that is more expensive like the $40 one. And even still for me, I don't know how many more of these I would buy because I enjoy making buildings so much. It takes away the fun part of the crafting process for me, and as neat as this house looks, I think I could probably make something that looks exactly like it and have way more fun getting to build it. And then all the textures would be better, and I wouldn't have to worry about any of the 3D printing artifacts that are in there. Hopefully this video was helpful for you. Hopefully it was something that made you decide whether this would be a worthwhile buy for you or not. Again, if you're interested in these, I'll put links down in the description so that you can find them. But that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, do all the YouTube stuff, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, like this video. The number one way that you can help a small YouTube channel out is to share their videos with a friend that you think would enjoy it. So if you've got a friend who is interested in these buildings or would be interested in these buildings, share this video. It would help the channel out a ton and I would appreciate it so, so much. But that's all we've got for this week. So until next week, I'll be seeing you.